Hello and welcome to the first of the Streetwise business podcasts. To be money wise, you need to be streetwise. My name's Andy Lehman, and today I'm going to talk about creating your very own information product. And there's a reason why I want to talk about this is because I believe that today we are at the best time in human history to be able to make money from the comfort of your own home. I know this as a fact because not only do Streetwise do this, but I've done this myself with several little online ventures. Myself and a friend, we had a website, we had a few websites which was generating money from advertising revenue through Google AdSense. We were selling t-shirts online and other advertising networks. I also have several books published on Amazon, and I know how easy that is. And I also did a course called The Viral Code for Streetwise. Now, these have all, in their own little way, made money for me after the product was created, and I no longer have to do anything else with them. And this is something I want to talk to you today, and that is because creating your own information product is incredibly profitable if you go about things the right way. But it's one of those things that you can do and you do it once, and then you can leave it to keep selling for years to come. So, for example, in a previous life, I used to work as a joiner, and I used to work alongside bricklayers and plasterers and electricians. And if we ever needed to earn, say, £500, we would have to go and find the work. If we were doing an extension, the bricklayer would have to build the walls. I would put on the roof and the timbers and the doors and the skirting boards. Once we'd done, we'd get paid, and then that was it. If we needed another £500, we would have to go and find another extension or another wall, whatever it was we had to do for that price. With the information product that I created for Streetwise, it was a viral code. Once it was created, it was then stuck online, and then it was just a case of sending traffic to the sales letter where people were buying, and then we were selling a few copies several months after I had actually finished creating the product. And this is the beauty of the modern world. We live in a place where we have the technology to be able to create information products on the information that we know. And so, for example, if you were taking joinery and building work as an example, you have a mobile phone which has a camera, so you could be creating a series of video tutorials which you could actually host on YouTube. You could host them on YouTube, have them set to unlisted, and create your own website where you charge people to access. So you could do your own building and joinery information product, teaching people how to do building, even sort of advanced stuff, things that people probably don't learn at college. But we have the technology to do these things now. So as I'm speaking now, I'm sat at home with a microphone which I bought off Amazon for probably about £30. My webcam was probably about the same. So all in all, my setup here has been probably about £100 at the most. Yes, I have a laptop. I have a second monitor which came from a second-hand electronics shop. I didn't buy it brand new, so I have a second monitor and my laptop. But that's it. I'm done now. And I have a mobile phone, which is this one here. This is a Samsung mobile phone, and I use software called Google Docs, which is it's a free setup. Basically, it's equivalent to Microsoft Word, which allows me to record or to write articles, to write documents using Google. It's free. If you've got a Gmail account, you could probably even get the app from the Play Store, which is Google. So if you've got Android, you need a Gmail account, so you'll get access to this. And the great thing with the mobile phone is I've got two options of writing articles and books by speaking. So I can use Google Docs and use the microphone button, which will allow me to use their text to speech, speech to text app, which will convert the words that I speak into words, and you'll see them appear on the screen. And then you can come and edit them at a later date. Now, the great thing about Google Docs is that you can connect or sync machines to that. So if I went for a walk, I could record myself talking into Google Docs and then come home and go onto the laptop and then edit what I was writing at a later date. because it'll be there in front of me. I just access it through my laptop. If you've got a Gmail account, which you will have, you can go around the world and use another machine and log into your Gmail account and then access your Google Docs. Because once you access Google Drive, then you can access it. So you could basically write something here in the UK on your phone, go abroad, and then you will use somebody else's phone. You can access your work. It's incredibly, it's incredible. So we live in a wonderful time where we can create information products from our sofas at the touch of a button, without having to have really any expensive or specific equipment. You don't need to buy any equipment in. We have it. Most of us have a smartphone these days. We have them. We have laptops. Okay. The other option with your mobile phone is that you record using an app called, it's a recorder via rev.com. And using that app, you then upload the recording to rev.com, which is a transcription service. They charge $1.25 per minute. And so basically 8 minutes of speaking will give you roughly about £10 worth of transcription. Now, they say that a person who speaks, if you write, you can get about 70 words a minute. If you speak, you can get between sort of 200 and 300 words a minute. Okay, so you can get more words down on a recording than you can writing. And I can write on my phone. I often do, get both thumbs out, type away. So I can write and I can edit using my phone while I'm in the garden, enjoying the weather. It's pretty good stuff. But we're using the transcription service. The good thing about rev.com is that you can walk and talk. Once you've finished your recording, it'll give you the option to press a button. So you press a button and then it will send it off to rev.com, where someone in the world will listen to your recording and then they will transcribe that recording for you. And by the time you get home, it's probably sat there waiting in your account. So then you can download the text and start editing it. Now, I'm not going to say that everything that you speak is going to be book worthy or article worthy, because you'll probably have to do a lot of chopping, a bit of editing. I use it as a content dump. It's a great idea to get loads of stuff out of your mind, like I'm doing now, talking, into an audio file and get it transcribed, and then you can edit it. It is a content dump. You get better as you go along, so you'll be able to start thinking in the sentence structures that you require. But the technology is there to create a product, and it could be, if you decide to use rev.com, let's say it may cost you £100 to get a book written, could be less. If you do podcasts, again, these can be done. You can charge people to access podcasts. I know that there are people who they use Instagram, and basically only Instagram, and they create a special group within Instagram, which people pay to join, and then they share information about a certain business model, and they do that through Instagram alone. And everybody has a mobile phone which basically can connect to Instagram, but that's just deviating a little bit. But we have webcams, we have Screencast-O-Matic, which is there's a free version of Screencast-O-Matic. It allows you to create videos like this and training ones, so you can actually use your screen so people can see what you're actually doing. I'm using Zoom at the moment. Again, this is free. I'm recording this video using Zoom. It's costing me nothing to do. So you can create a series of training videos. So if you know something, you can create an information product. And now, why do I think this is important? Why am I suggesting that you create an information product? And that is because they're extremely quick to do a lot of the time. Now, this is a book I was reading earlier. It's by Jim Edwards and Joe Vitale. Both of them are very wealthy marketers and copywriters. And this is How to Write and Publish Your Own Ebook in as Little as 7 Days. It's a great title. The book is quite old, to be fair. It's about 2007, so a lot of the information in many ways is outdated, but the bones of the book is relevant. And that is, you can create an ebook in as little as 7 days. This is from 2007. It's now 2020. The technology we have at our fingertips is far superior. So you can create an ebook, or you can create a course, and then you can have that on your own website. using either PayPal buttons or creating a JVZoo account or many other different softwares. There's like Cartflow or ClickFunnels. You can create a series of funnels. You can create your own sales pages where people then land on your website, and if they're interested, they can buy your book. Now, the great thing about having your own ebook is that it's all digital. So you upload it to your website, and then when someone buys it, basically it's for sale 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year. So you can go to sleep, wake up next morning, and you have sales. And the great thing about the digital age is that you can set everything up. So someone comes along, they buy the product, they receive the email which directs them to the book. You don't have to do anything once it's done. Basically, the money then comes into your bank account or your PayPal account, whichever you're using. It's a digital world and it's set up and you can leave it. So let's say that you decided you wrote a book and let's say that you was able to sell one book a day. Now, that isn't huge. But so if your book was £15 and you were to sell 365 books a year, so that will be £5,475 extra. That if you did end up writing a book, say within 7 days, or even if it took you a month or 2 months, that is £5,475 in your pocket minus fees for like PayPal or anything like that. But that's money that you've earned from doing a job once. Okay. Yes, you need to get traffic to your website. There are ways of doing that. With social media, it's free. You've got Twitter, you've got Instagram, you've got Facebook. These are all free. Takes a bit of work. Some of the big boys, they'll start using Facebook advertising and Instagram advertising. You can also put your book on Amazon. That's one of the biggest platforms with a lot of traffic. And the great thing about Amazon is that they generally, if you starting to get sales, then Amazon is about making money. So they want you to succeed because then it means that they succeed. So if you start to sell a lot of copies, then they'll notice this and then they'll start recommending your book to other people. And that is in many ways is a form of free advertising, but you need to get your book selling first. But you can put your book on Amazon. Technically, you're not supposed to have a book for sale in the KDP anywhere else on. I think there's ways around it, but I mean, you could do 2 versions of the same book, have it on Amazon and have it on your website. But if your book was selling for, let's say for the next 5 years at one book a day, over the next 5 years, you have banked yourself an extra £27,375. And that is from a book that you have written once. Now, going back to when I was a joiner again, when I was asked to hang a door, internal doors, depending on what kind of door it was, would range sometimes from sort of £30 up to £50, depending on what work was involved, because obviously the frames are out. There's always different types of doors to take into consideration. But you could look at basically a simple door could be a couple of hours. So you probably look at when I was doing joinery, I was probably charging about £30 per door, which is quite good. If you've got 3 or 4 doors done in a day, it's not a bad wage, but it's tiring. It's hard work. You're swinging a door around in small spaces, sometimes scuffing wallpaper, knocking things off the shelf if you're not careful. And a lot of the doors these days are getting harder, again, heavier. And fire doors were a nightmare. But you'd have to do that. And then once you got paid, you'd have to do it again. And so it gets tiring. But with ebooks, you can earn, like I said, if you sell one book a day at £15, for the next 5 years, you've got yourself £27,375 for something you did once. And what do you do if you've done something once? You do it again. You can either write your own book or you can license products from other people. Streetwise are now starting to license things from their own catalog, and a lot of their products are more expensive than £15. There's one book which I think is a brilliant book. They sell for £77. You don't need many of those before you're making some good money. But if you created a course, let's think about a course. As I say, I did the viral code course, and a lot of that was done in my spare time, in my evenings. At the time, I was working, and so I had this idea for the course, and I was writing a lot of the stuff while I was at work, A lot of it was written on my phone. The videos were created using Screencast-O-Matic. It was all free software. And I built the website for it, and I contacted Streetwise. Now, that course was selling for over a couple £100. Now, imagine that you created your own course and you were selling it at £97. If you were just selling 2 of those a week, again, that's over that's over £5,000 in a year, just from a couple of those courses selling at £97. Over 5 years, you're looking again at £25,220 at 97. Then you've got your costs to come out of that. But that's something, again, that you've done once. It's like this video I'm doing now. I'm basically recording using Zoom. I have a microphone which has come from Amazon, which I think was about £30. But basically, I'm sat here now in my office recording a podcast about creating information products, and this itself is an information product. When it's finished, it'll go on to possibly YouTube, again, another free social media platform, and then it will probably go on to Anchor FM. Now, this is a podcast distribution service, which when you put your podcast on there, they will then distribute it to places like Apple, Google, Spotify. There's other podcast platforms that they distribute it to. So it's free service. You upload your podcast to anchor.fm, and then they will share it to all these other places. Again, you can put your podcast on your website. You can record stuff like this and then put it behind a paid wall. So, for example, you could record a video like this every day. If you specialize in if you've got a skill which is in demand, if you know information or you know something that other people don't and they need to know, again, you can record videos like this where you're talking about it and then put it behind a paid wall and charge people to learn that information. It's all incredibly easy today. Now, the art of being an information publisher is that once it's online, you can sell over and over again. We know that. But you need traffic. And I mentioned that there is free social media platforms. You've got Twitter, Facebook. It used to be Google+. I used to like Google+, but they got rid of that because they couldn't beat Facebook. So you got Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and then YouTube. YouTube is a brilliant free social media platform because, unlike the others, the content that you put onto YouTube grows. With the other social media platforms, basically it goes down in the feed and disappears into the cyber ether of the internet. But with YouTube, because it's also a search engine, people type in and using certain keywords, your content can appear in the searches. Plus, when someone watches a video, if it's similar to yours, YouTube will recommend it to other people because YouTube make money from advertising revenue, and so they personally want to keep people on the platform, and they do that by recommending new videos. And this is why they talk about getting sucked into YouTube for the day. When they're at work, they go and look at a cat video, and the next 4 hours they're still there looking at cat videos or other funny videos, because YouTube keep recommending them other videos which they think they will enjoy. So YouTube is actually a very powerful platform to get into. Not only can you advertise on there, because a lot of marketers are now using YouTube to advertise to people, so you can pay to get your videos in front of other people. But you can generate a lot of money from YouTube because they have an advertising revenue. They use AdSense. You become a YouTube partner. So if you got a YouTube channel, and to start off with, you need to have, I think it's 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of viewing, then you can become a YouTube partner. And so all the advertising on any videos that you have, you will earn a percentage of, which I think is around 60% for you. So it's more in your favor. So as a YouTube video creator, you can earn quite a lot of money if you get a lot of views. And if you go to YouTube, you will see a lot of videos have a lot of views. I was only looking at some the other night. Quite simple videos, incredibly simple, high definition videos of what appeared to be fish tanks or waves on a beach. There was different videos, and they've been seen around 9 million times. And there was one which had actually only been released, I think it was the month before. It hadn't been on for long, and that had millions of views. And so these are people who are at home chilling to videos, watching the waves coming onto the beach. Someone has sat and recorded them. They were several hours long, so I'm assuming they've probably looped them, and they must have been raking it in if they have advertisement popping up around their videos, because they were getting millions of views. It's an incredible tool, and it's an incredible tool for driving traffic back to your own website. And you can host your videos on there, and you can hide them so they're unlisted, which you then embed on your website, which saves you on hosting and bandwidth on your own website. So, as I say, we live at the greatest period in mankind for making money from home. The tools that we have and the connection to the internet is just, it's mind-boggling. And so it has opened up the doors to many people now. Information publishers are the people who constantly publish information. And these are the people who make quite a lot of money, because we live in a world where everybody wants to learn something. We want to know something new. There's a whole bookshelf up there of books, all to do with, well, there's a combination of, there's copywriting, there's marketing, there's psychology. Got a book up there called How to Talk to Anyone. There's quite a lot on copywriting. There's The Clever Guts Diet by Michael Mosley. There's a lot of information up there. Wired for Story, that's a book about how the human brain is wired for listening to story. This is why in copywriting people use story to sell. The Bible and all the great mythologies, all the education that we've got from our ancient people have been passed down in stories. You know, we are wired to take in stories. And reading is something that people do on a regular basis. They watch videos, they listen to podcasts. So becoming the publisher of information is a very profitable business. And it's something that you should really think about, because it's one of the cheapest businesses to get into these days. Beforehand, to sell information, you'd have to advertise in magazines, newspapers, and you'd probably have to do direct response marketing, which meant that you would send sales letters similar to these here. I'm holding one up for the camera. If you're listening to this in the audio, you won't see that, but the sales letters that you get through the post, they cost quite a bit to print and the mailing. So you could be looking to send, if you're sending out a few thousand, you'd be looking at paying a few thousand. These days you can do it all for free. Yes, you can run advertising on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, but to start with, you can do all this for free, and you can build up money if you want to go further. Information publishing has been blown wide open today with all the free tools that everyone has access to. You build an email list when you're selling products, or when you give away something for free as a lead magnet, or you sell a cheap product, and you do that to build an email list. Because when you have an email list, then that becomes your, basically it's like your own personal cash machine. It's traffic that you own. So if you build up an email list, then every time you publish an article, a video, a podcast, or a new product, you can then email people and tell them all about it and drive them to the web page or the video, the podcast that you want them to see. You build a relationship with your email list. So you keep emailing them on a regular basis, and you make sure that it's not always a sales email. But the great thing about building an email list is that they say that if you've got 1,000 people on your email list, you should basically be earning £500 a month off your email list. So it's like 50p per person. And they do say that for every dollar that you invest on building your email list, you should get $38 back, up between 38 and 44. It's a growing number. There's been different reports. But you are looking at roughly sort of $38 back from your initial dollar investment to build your list. A lot of companies and a lot of individuals have email lists of tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of people. They don't always promote their own stuff. They promote other people's. Like I say, they get licensed products from other companies, or they look for affiliate products, and they promote these to other people. And every time somebody buys a product, they make a sale, they make a commission, and it can be quite a lot. So, for example, Anik Single is an American marketer. He once did a promotion for Joe Vitale, who I mentioned. He wrote this book here with Jim Edwards, How to Write and Publish Your Own Ebook in as little as 7 days. He is from The Secret, so he's into marketing, but he's also into metaphysics. And he was promoting a product which was around $3,000. So Anik Single, being a marketer, has many lists, and one of them was in that niche. So he wrote 18 emails that he sent out over a period of 12 days, which generated him in commissions over $1 million. And so he obviously has a big email list. And that's the power of being a publisher, an information publisher online. He wrote these emails and sent them out to his list, and over 12 days turned over £1 million, or $1 million. And so that was from email marketing. So building your own email list is important. It's the lifeblood of your business. You can send traffic to wherever you want them. You control that traffic. You own it. Whereas if you went to Facebook could stop your advertising account. That has been done many times. You may lose your profile, and using their edge rank, Facebook isn't brilliant for necessarily free traffic. But if you convert people onto an email list, then it's traffic that you own. And like I say, if you have 1,000 people on your email list, it is said that you should have the potential to make £500 per month off your email. That's on average. Okay, so your target should be to grow an email list of at least 1,000 people. And then with your creating your own information products or licensing information products from other people, you should then be able to basically earn money from home without having to go and do a job, unless of course you want to. But like I said, this stuff was not really available for most people years ago, but today it is. What I'm doing today now, I'm in the comfort of my own home. I'm in my own office. I'm recording this video, and it's then going to go on to podcast distribution service. It's going to go onto YouTube. It'll go onto a website. It'll probably be emailed out to people. People will come here and watch this. While you're watching this, I could be in the garden having a cup of tea, thinking up the next one. It's done at home. It's that simple. So if you're interested in becoming an information publisher and creating your own products, then I seriously think you should, because, as I said, the beautiful thing about publishing your own products, whether you write them or create them yourself, or you just get somebody else to do them, because you can outsource the product creation to other people. You can pay people a couple £100 to get something created for you, or you just basically go and license the product from other people, like Streetwise. They have a fantastic program at the moment called the Lazy Millionaire Publishing System, where you get to license several of their products. So go and check that out. That's at streetwisepartners.co.uk. If you haven't signed up for John Harrison's book as well, make sure you do. That's How to Stop Working, Make £1 Million Instead. That's this book here that I'm showing to the camera now. Those who are on the podcast won't see it, but it's John Harrison's How to Stop Working, Make £1 Million Instead. It's a free book, and you can get that from streetwisepublicationslimited.com. So get that. But so information publishing, creating your own products, creating your own ebooks. Anybody can do it today. I'm currently writing my a couple of books. I've got books published on Amazon. I've got books on websites. It's easy to do. Anybody can do it, and I suggest that you give it some thought, because, like I say, once they're done, you can sell them for years to come. Just one book a day over the next year can be around £5,000 if you sell it at 15. Depends on how much you want to sell it for. But to earn money in a physical world, then you have to do the work every time. You know, if you get paid £10 an hour, £15 an hour, you have to work each hour to get paid for every door that you hang, for every wall that you build, every cake that you bake, every taxi ride that you drive. Everything that you do requires you to do the work to get paid, apart from in the digital world. Everything that you do, once it's done, goes online, can be sold over and over again. Yes, you will need to send an email out every now and again. Yes, you'll need to drive traffic to your sales and your products. But with all the free tools and the availability, the access to millions of people around the world today, there's over 500 million people in the English-speaking nations, the 5 English-speaking nations of Canada, Britain, USA, Australia, New Zealand. And then you've got places like South Africa, you've got people who speak English as a second language. It's an incredible opportunity to be earning a semi-passive income from the work that you've just done once. Okay, so I'd like to just say thank you again for listening to this podcast. This is the Streetwise Business Podcast. To be money-wise, you need to be streetwise. I look forward to seeing you again on episode number 2, which will hopefully be dropping with you same time next week. Thank you.